Toward the end of last year, I found Pavel Mach's Facebook page while searching for a custom sword maker. I wanted to find someone that would put together a specific project for me, as I had just had shoulder surgery and was meaning to use cutting in my physical therapy. I'm admittedly a bit of a hipster for messers, but my old cold steel brick, their Kriegsmesser, is horrible on the joints when trying to use it with any kind of proper form, and I decided it was time to upgrade. An upgrade I did, in a gross way. Pavel himself is located in the Czech Republic, and according to his bio is descended from a line of smiths that clearly influenced his work. He uses a combination of traditional and new modern methods, all of which culminate in a product worthy of such a pedigree. Indeed, Pavel has solid reviews across the forums and throughout HEMA, as I made sure to check before contacting him. The positive voice from the community was reassuring, and the thought of a Czech making my messer was too savory to pass up. If you can have an Italian make your pasta, why wouldn't you? The initial design I had in mind was inspired by the sadly unavailable Albion Knecht, mixed with a few elements taken from various sources. Pavel himself makes a beautiful Swiss saber based on Torsten Schneier's measurements of an original, and this became the basis for the hilt. The only thing I changed was the quillins, which I borrowed from another of Pavel's pieces. The blade itself was inspired by wide, slimmer, straighter styles, featuring a good point, reinforced tip, and sharpened false edge. I drew up my plans and measurements, and came up with what Elmsley might call a M5C+. Pavel was able to take these plans and merge them into a finished piece like only a master could. He personally tuned the balance and gave specific reasons as to any tweaks he recommended. Continuing the theme of personalization, he let me choose the wood, the stain, the edge sharpness, and the leather of the scabbard, in addition to accommodating an already pretty specific design. Here's the result, and it's better than I ever hoped, even if throughout the process there were some setbacks and disappointments. That's why I wanted to make this video, to show Pavel's master work and perhaps make some suggestions of what I hope to see in the future. Let's do an overview of the piece first, then we can talk about the good and the less good. The grip is 9 3/4 long and features contoured wood panels that aid in edge alignment. It is wider at the bottom, making it easier to secure your grip and slip a throwing cut. Brass tubes secure the panels, and a seamlessly integrated end cap is smoothly peened in an aesthetically pleasing distal swell that complements the wood. The filling in the cap is straight and smooth and does not catch at any point. While many messers have guards with peened nagels mounted down over the blade, this is not historically exclusive. Many examples feature guards assembled like a sword, with the guard slipped up over the tang. Blades with distal swells which would not allow the guard to pass over them, like those found in types 1 through 4 in the Elmsley typology, are constructed in this way. If a ring is used instead of a bar or shell nagel, this process is also more feasible since the ring blocks access to the peen. Such is the case with this piece. The guard has been fit up over the tang and is held in place with the brass tubes. I can't tell if it's been welded in or not, but it seems very secure. The quillins were left somewhat plain by my request. Pavel's production sabers boast brass accents and some excellent file work. Mine still does have some detail, and the cuts that I did ask for are quite clean and smooth. The guard spans 10 inches across and complements the length of the grip well. The ring is 3 inches across and has very clean file cuts on its face. In handling, neither the guard nor the nagel get in the way or impact with your wrist. The piece so far was fairly similar to Pavel's other work, and I was sure that that would turn out fine. What I was admittedly apprehensive about was the blade. I wasn't sure if my plans were clear enough or made sense. This is where Pavel's expertise really came through. With a few small adjustments, he was able to take the concept and meld it with the hilt group to make it perfectly harmonious. 32 inches long and 1.5 inch wide, with a clean fuller running 23 inches. The false edge is 10 inches with good geometry. The tip isn't thin enough to worry about bending or breaking. Impressive considering the substantial distal taper, which itself makes the piece a joy to use. The point of balance is 3.5 inches in front of the guard, lending to a perfect combination of speed and presence. The blade, again a modified M5C+, sweeps down and back up. Combined with a canted grip angle, this brings the point right back in alignment with the thumb, meaning the detriment to the thrust normally associated with curved blades is reduced. I asked for as sharp as a blade as Pavel could make. What arrived was a gorgeous single bevel and a smooth face. There is no drag or catching to speak of. Out of the box, it was ready to cut bottles and paper with ease, even for a gimp amateur like me. The handling and use of this thing are incredible. It wants to move and keep moving. It points and guards smoothly, and there are no hot spots anywhere. The point of balance and center of percussion are dead on. Structurally, it's been solid with only the smallest of edge warp from an accident a friend had while learning to cut. The scabbard is red leather with gold-painted lettering. The chape is metal with brushed brass accents. It's solid and retains the blade very well. The accompanying belt and buckle match the leather and hangs the piece at a very accessible angle. Like the Messer, it's been designed and made with custom adjustments and fitting, so that everything makes sense during use. It's obvious when you use this piece that it was tuned by somebody that is both a smith and a swordsman. He knows what a sword should do, and he knows how to get it there. This is rarer these days, as lots of smiths can forge, but have little actual knowledge about handling. At the same time, plenty of people out there are swinging swords that know nothing about proper construction. Pavel is both. He's a descendant of smiths and a HEMA practitioner. He's a student and a master. This formula shows in the finished product, where you can appreciate the materials, the construction, and the functionality all at the same time. It's rare to get the whole package, especially at an accessible price. Unfortunately, it was not a perfect experience or piece that I got from dealing with Pavel. There are some things I wish had gone smoother, though many of these things are human error and I can forgive them. The ordering process was fairly easy, if not exactly expedient. Pavel answered my emails about once every 2 weeks, sometimes more and sometimes less. The plan took a little while to come together, since communication was sparse. His English is better than my Czech, of course, but there were still times where we had a little bit of a language barrier. Occasionally, some questions I had about materials, design, or lead times went unanswered, and the response emails were somewhat sparse. I ordered a scabbard with my order, which was missed until the last minute. The delivery time was late. None of this seemed to be malicious, of course. Pavel was professional and patient. But it is what it is. I get the sense that Pavel is a craftsman and swordsman, but has little time left for running the business. I'm sure he was very busy at the time, and things are bound to slip through the cracks. As a commission artist and business owner myself, I can relate to the feeling of being stretched thin. Sometimes you quickly hack through the emails or accounting just so you can get back to the part of your job that you love. I get it. That being said, here's what I wish had gone better about the project. It's my hope that with this feedback, many more customers will be able to fully enjoy what Pavel does best: make weapons. I feel like Pavel could use a more stable and responsive communication system. Email is fine as long as you respond timely and completely. The confusion or language barrier combined with the missed details about the project could just be because Pavel is so busy or a technical issue. Whatever it is, it'd be nice to have a stronger and more frequent exchange. The piece was paid for via bank money wire, which is a huge pain. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, email invoicing, all these things are viable and insured ways to quickly charge for a service, and they are also much cheaper. The fee for using wire transfer was $50. That's rough for sure. About the piece itself, it arrived with some rust spots and a few cracks in the wood. The finish was not totally consistent. There was a nick in the edge, and the false edge was butter knife sharp. There is a sizable gap between the guard and the blade. I think the guard was originally cast for one of Pavel's production sabers, but it was used for my saber. Since the blades were different, the gap is substantial and quite disappointing. The scabbard was glued together from several pieces. It's not ahistorical, but could have been better. The detail of the chape is off-center as well, and I wish the lettering were crisper. Some of the things I can fix myself, though I don't agree that I should have to. I intend to wedge some oiled leather in the guard gap to add some more support to the blade and to prevent it rusting. I've filled the cracks and separations in the wood panels with JB Weld, and they seem to be holding up. The rust bits were removed with navel jelly and fine grit. I've already sharpened the false edge, and now it cuts well. I would have liked a little more finishing on the blade itself, and have since put my own polish on it. It's gone from paper cutting sharp to shaving sharp with very little effort. To his credit, Pavel offered to fix the wood issue if I'd send it back in, but the wait times and cost for shipping internationally made me reconsider. I may still do it if the damage worsens. Some of these issues don't bother me at all. The little nicks and imperfections in the finish and file work just remind me that another human being made this for me with his limited mortal time. It's endearing to hold the sweat and labor of another person in your hands. As a commission artist, this speaks to me, but I also understand if someone else doesn't like it. Some people like the soulless perfection of a machine and are willing to pay for it. Not me. I'd rather hold someone's best work than a machine's regular Tuesday, at least when it comes to historical reproductions. It's more authentic to me if it's imperfectly human-made. There are some things I hope Pavel is able to tweak and change. But if that list of negatives seems weighty to you, you should know that I'd order from Pavel again. That's how good it is. The good far outweigh the bad. And functionally, this piece exceeded my expectations. It feels great in the hand. It's exactly what I wanted from my rehabilitation exercises. It cuts astonishingly, and it's so beautiful. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys check out Pavel's stuff. I'm glad he lives expensively far away, since I'd go broke buying all his stuff if I could get it right away. Send him an email and wish him the best. He's one hell of a smith. That's all from me. The rest of the video is just going to be cutting footage. Please enjoy.
The 6-inch cut. I've heard legends.
Stories and myth.
He's too close to make a clean cut. Bam. Ooh. Yep.
So take the top off first.
Okay.
Alright, so now, see if we can cut. See how many cuts we can get out of this thing. Two cuts, still got water.